Hey everyone, hope you're well. In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about books that I want to reread. Now I know that I've got a lot of books that I haven't yet read and there are some that I really want to get around to reading, but there are also some books that I really want to read again. I know not everyone likes rereading books. A lot of people I know will just read the book once and then will always go on to something new. But I think it's nice to reread books every now and then because you might read something when you're a lot younger and then want to read it again when you're a bit older. And also sometimes you take new things from books when you reread them, and sometimes you just enjoy them so much that you just want to get immersed in that world again. So personally for me, I love rereading books and I'm going to share some of them with you now. There are two series on this list that I want to reread, and the first is Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I know if you've watched any of my previous videos you will know that I have only just finished this series. I only found this series at the beginning of the year. A lot of people were recommending that I read these and I took people's advice in the end and picked up A Court of Thorns and Roses from the library. This is now my own copy because I had to get my own. But I remember reading this one really quickly and wanting to get straight on to the next book. The second book I read while I was ill, and although I took it all in and that's definitely my favourite book from the series, I would love to reread it again when I'm not sick. So I'm going to want to reread that one as well, but obviously I'm not going to reread the second without the first. I would really like to read them again in order. And I'd just love to reread A Court of Wings and Ruin again just because I loved it so much, and I read it right away from when it came out on the 2nd of May and I finished it within 3 days I think. So I'd love to reread it again and read it slower and take it in a bit more rather than rush it because I just wanted to find out more about what was happening. So I really want to reread all three of these, and I have a feeling that this is going to happen very soon even though I've only just finished them. The other series that I really want to reread is the Harry Potter series, and the main reason for me wanting to go back over these is because on the 26th of June it will be 20 years since this first book was released. This book actually isn't my copy, this is my brother's copy, because all of my Harry Potter books got stored away somewhere when my room was redecorated and never came back down from the loft or wherever they went. And then when I moved house I never took them with me, but I've been trying to look for them since I moved into this new house and no one seems to know where they are. I've looked for my mum's loft and I've looked at my nan's, which is the only two places I believe they would be, but I still can't find them. So I think I'm going to end up repurchasing them all because I want my own copies. This one I have because I had to read it for my uni degree last year, I think it was. So I have this one of my brother's. So I've reread this one not too long ago, well, nearly a year ago now. But I haven't reread any of the other ones since I was a child, so I'd really love to reread them and just immerse myself back in that magical world. Then when I'm finished with the Harry Potter series, the next book that I really want to reread is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Now the main reason I want to reread this one is because I read this all in one day when it came out. I remember going out and buying this the day that it was released, and I can remember sitting there and reading the whole thing in that one day, pretty much in about 2 sittings I think actually. I think I read all of part 1 in one go. And then I think I came back after dinner and sat down and read all of part 2. So again, I read it really quickly, but it wasn't that I didn't take it in, but I think I was in that frame of mind where I just knew I wanted to finish it, so I didn't take my time with it, and I really enjoyed it. I know there's been a lot of mixed reviews about this book, so I really enjoyed it, but I would really love to reread it again and just take my time with it a little bit more. Also, if anyone has seen this in the West End, please let me know what you think of it, because I would love to go and see it. I know a few people that have been and they really enjoyed it, but I would love to know what you guys think, and is it worth going and seeing. Another book that I would really love to reread is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and I would love to reread this one because when I read this I was quite young and I don't think I fully appreciated this book until the film came out, and then I remember watching that and thinking how amazing it was and how much I'd love to reread the book, but I've never gotten around to it, so I would really love to reread this, and I know so many people that say this is their favourite book of all time, so I would love to reread this and hopefully get more out of it this time round. The next book that I'd really like to reread is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This is an absolutely brilliant book, but again it was another one that I read way too quickly and would just like to reread again slower and just take a little bit more time with it. As I said, this is a brilliant book and I really love some of the lines in this. The characters are amazing and Jennifer's writing is beautiful. I actually had a quote from this book on one of the tables at my wedding back in October, so that just shows you how much I love it, because I had a lot of quotes written down that I wanted on the tables, but this one made the cut. So this is a brilliant book. If you haven't read it, you need to. This was part of the W.H. Smith Zoella book club, so I also have a review video for that if you want to find out a little bit more about this book. I will leave the link in the description box below. Another book that was in the Zoella book club that I would also like to reread is Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. Now this is being made into a film and is coming out a lot sooner than All the Right Places. It actually comes out this month in a lot of countries, so look out for that if you have read this book and want to see it as a film. But this is an absolutely brilliant book. I can remember starting this at like 11 o'clock at night one evening, and I read solidly for like 2.5, 3 hours and finished the whole thing. It's not a very long book, but it's an absolutely incredible one. And I would really love to read it again because although I remember how much I loved it reading it that one evening, I would love to take my time with it a bit more and take it all in and maybe read it when it's not midnight or the early hours of the morning, because I feel like I would enjoy it a bit more if I wasn't feeling so sleep deprived as well. But I would love to reread this before the film comes out. The final book on the list of ones that I want to reread is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and I haven't read this book since the film came out. I remember reading this just before the film came out, and then I can remember reading it again afterwards because I really wanted to read it again. But I loved this book the first time I read it and the second time that I read it, but it was quite a while ago now, and I would like to read it again just to see if I love it as much as I did back then. Also, I would love to rewatch the film again thinking about it, so maybe I'll do that after this video is finished. But there are also a lot of bits in this book that made me cry, so I would like to see if they still have the power to make me cry, even though I know what's going to happen, because I've heard a lot of people saying that it doesn't matter how many times you read this book, the same bits will always make you cry. So I'll be intrigued to see if that happens, probably because it doesn't take much to make me cry, to be honest. I cry at everything. So I would love to reread this again, and hopefully I'll get to it soon. So those were just some of the books that I really want to reread at some point. Some of them I will be rereading again sooner than others, A Court of Thorns and Roses series. But I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment down below if there are any books that you want to reread, or just to give book recommendations, because I'm really trusting people at the minute with book recommendations after A Court of Thorns and Roses was recommended to me, and I've absolutely fallen head over heels in love with that world. So feel free to recommend any books to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in another video soon. Bye!